There needs to be a special prosecutor to investigate the Internal Revenue scandal. Eric Holder is a partisan crony and an incompetent. He's incapable of it. And it cannot be somebody from the administration investigating the administration. So there needs to be we've appointed special prosecutors to investigate all kinds of stupid stuff. This isn't stupid. So we do need to get to the bottom of that. But please, I don't want you to miss the big picture. That the entire nature of the Internal Revenue Service is corrupt. It's too powerful. It's too big. And it's about to get much, much bigger and more powerful through your healthcare system. That's absolutely unacceptable. And isn't it amazing that the Democrats and the left, when pushing through this Obamacare with one-party rule, chose the Internal Revenue Service as the agency that would do the enforcing and the regulating and the rulemaking? I mean, that's just outrageous. But the Internal Revenue Service under Franklin Roosevelt, as James Bovard has written, the Wall Street Journal, used the IRS to harass newspaper publishers who were opposed to the New Deal, including William Randolph Hearst and Moses Annenberg, publisher of the Philadelphia Inquirer. FDR also dropped the IRS hammer on political rivals, such as the populist firebrand Huey Long and radio agitator Father Coughlin, and prominent Republicans such as former Treasury Secretary Andrew Mellon. Perhaps Roosevelt's most pernicious tax skullduggery occurred in 1944. He spiked an IRS audit of illegal campaign contributions made by a government contractor to then Texas Congressman Lyndon Johnson, whose career might have been derailed if Texans had learned of the scandal. President John Kennedy raised the political exploitation of the IRS to an art form. Shortly after capturing the presidency, JFK denounced, quote, the discordant voices of extremism and decided people who distrust their leaders — Obama didn't invent that particular rhetorical line, of course — that shortly thereafter, JFK signaled at a news conference that he expected the IRS to be vigilant in policing the tax-exempt status of questionable, read conservative, organizations. And within a few days of his remarks, the IRS launched Ideological Organizations Audit Project. It targeted right-leaning groups such as the Christian Anti-Communist Crusade, the American Enterprise Institute, and the Foundation for Economic Education. Kennedy also used the IRS to strong-arm companies into complying with so-called voluntary price controls. Steel executives who defied JFK were singled out for audits. And this came out in a 1976 report by the Senate Select Committee on Government Intelligence. After Nixon took office, his administration quickly created a special services staff to mastermind what a memo called all IRS activities involving ideological, militant, subversive, radical, and similar type organizations. More than 10,000 individuals and groups were targeted because of their political activism or slant between 1969 and 1973. You see, almost every decade, ladies and gentlemen, one administration or another. This is unacceptable in a republic. This is unacceptable under the Constitution. I'm telling you right now, 3, 6, 8, 10, 24 months from now, they'll all be patting themselves on the back in Washington that they've uncovered the problem, that they've resolved it, and now let's move along. I am telling you that the IRS must be abolished and replaced with either a fair tax or a flat tax, or this will never be resolved.